Thank you very much for joining me. How you been? Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Back. Steve Renazizi. I'm the guy. I'm the guy. Fucking lit. I'm the guy. Steve Renazizi. Lit. I'm the guy. I'm the guy. Fucking lit. I'm the guy. Steve Renazizi. What's the odds? What's the odds? What's the odds?
Oh, yes, ladies and gentlemen, it's What's the Odds? Steve Renazizi back again, coming at you. It's the AFC NFC Conference Championship weekend, and guess what? We were wrong. Even though we thought, we bet with our minds last year, our hearts overcame our minds and just blasted the good. I mean, Mark Andrews is now part of Bill's Mafia. Lucas, by the way, happy birthday. Show them everyone your shirt.
Thank you.
Lucas is thrilled. I don't know if
This
this is a birthday present. This is
This is a
unbelievable.
Christmas present from Brent Biddlecombe.
Oh,
2 years
boy,
ago.
Oh boy. For those of you just listening, this is a T-shirt. It's the meme of the hot chick walking, the guy staring at the hot chick, and then the girlfriend staring at the guy. But except the hot chick is Josh Allen, the guy is Taylor Swift, and the girl is Jason Kelsey's Travis Kelsey. So it's unbelievable that you guys.
That's Jason Kelsey's in too many commercials where you're confusing him for his brother. You're just seeing him too much.
I know, and then and I'm doing Monday Night Football too. It doesn't help. I mean, I
Yeah.
like him; he's nice, but
He's
yeah,
fine,
he's
but they're
very,
really shoving him down our throat.
yes, very much so, very very much so. And it could be a thing where Peyton was the same way in like when we got a lot
Yeah.
of Peyton, but I love Peyton and I need more. So I might still need more of Kelsey too. I'm not sure. But you guys had a great weekend. The Bills overcame all the odds, not all of them. Look, it was basically a pick'em game, but they did what they had to do. How excited are you guys? Do you feel like it's already a success, or are you like, no, this is the year we need the whole thing. I want the whole fucking thing.
Well, we obviously want the whole thing, but I think if we were sitting here in August and you said, I'll give you a 25% chance to win the Super Bowl, I would take that, especially considering all the players that we lost on both sides of the ball. So I feel pretty good, but I mean, I think for Josh and his legacy and for this team and just the NFL in general, if they lose to Mahomes, it's all for naught. He just, even more so than winning the Super Bowl, he has to beat Mahomes in the playoffs if he's going to be considered one of the great quarterbacks. As much as I would have loved to have seen the Texans win last week and get to host another game, it's better for him. It's better for this team. It's better for the league to see this matchup. And they match up a lot better against the Chiefs this week than they did against the Ravens last week. So I feel pretty good.
Yeah.
There are a couple of guys banged up on the defense, and we're recording this Wednesday morning. We'll get the first practice report today. We need them to be on the field.
Who are you specifically talking about? I forget which one.
I don't know if he's actually hurt, but Matt Milano was not on the field for that 2-point try at the end, and there's speculation he might be hurt. You got Terrell Bernard is banged up, and Taylor Rapp is probably not playing with that hip injury. So Rapp's probably a Rapp, and we can make up for that. Maybe Micah Hyde gets called up this week finally, but we need Matt Milano. If we're going to be competitive, we have to have Matt Milano healthy.
Are you happy that you won the game against the Chiefs earlier in the season, or do you wish you had lost that game? And what can you learn from that game, do you think, going into this one?
I don't think it matters that much. I mean, it gives the Bills confidence that, we've been here. We can win on the road in this stadium. But that was so long ago that teams are completely different.
Well, the same thing happened last year, too, where they beat the Chiefs in the regular season, lost to them in the playoffs. I mean, they've been through this before.
Yeah, they just need to be healthy, and they need to play their game, and they can beat this team.
Yeah, I'm the way, if you looked at all the games last week, and Houston besides holding on to the ball too long, CJ Stroud held on to the ball too long. And I think it gave a false impression that I'm not saying Kansas City's defense isn't good and Jones is an elite, but the game plan, it seemed like CJ Stroud was not the runner he normally was. I don't know if he remember he got hurt or something in the early, like or late in the second half, or the first half. He was limping around a little bit. He seemed to hold on to the ball and not have pocket awareness the way he normally does. So I don't know. I mean, if you look at it, it looks like, oh, well, the Chiefs defense is really gonna, could possibly get to Josh Allen and contain him. But I'm not convinced of that. I'm not convinced of that at all.
So to that point, you had the Texans' offensive line really banged up, and they were shuffling guys, and they've been in trouble for like a month and a half. I mean, we've seen him in a couple of primetime games where it's like there's just constant pressure on CJ. So that didn't help. He was holding onto the ball too long and making bad decisions. But to your point, this will be a great matchup because I don't know if you guys realize this. Josh Allen set another record this year. He had the per snap percentage. He had the lowest interception, fumble, and sack per snap taken in the history since they started tracking all these stats. So no one's had it lower than him, where he is either taking a sack, fumbled, or thrown a pick per snap. He was the best. The Bills gave up the least amount of sacks this year. And I mean, obviously he's a bit more mobile and harder to bring down than CJ Stroud is. So I don't know if that's necessarily a plus matchup for them.
That's
I think
what's crazy about the Ravens game.
Excuse me.
How did the Bills not have a turnover in the snow?
Because Josh has gone against the narrative of he's the turnover king, and he had the lowest number in his career. And can I say one thing? And then Lamar's going to win MVP. It's just what it is.
He is?
He is. I think he is. The tide turned, and his stats look a little bit more bloated than Josh. But I will say this, because I think the spirit of the MVP award has kind of gone out the door, and it's become more of who's on the better team, who has the better record, and the stats mean more than they should. Because I don't know if you saw this one. This was fascinating, where it's like Josh is clearly far and away the most important person on Buffalo's team. Without him, the Bills are a mediocre team at best.
5-win team.
Lamar Jackson had an amazing season, not taking anything away from that. However, they brought in Derrick Henry. They were 13-0 when Derrick Henry ran for 90 yards or more. Do you know what their record was when he didn't get 90 yards? They were 0-6. They lost every single game that Derrick Henry didn't reach 90 yards. They won every single game that he did, and he had 84 yards
Derrick
against
Henry's
Buffalo.
MVP.
Derrick Henry is a huge part of that team.
Yeah, I don't know why. I mean, it seems like they go away from the run, the Ravens, for some reason. And I'm not saying he didn't have, any huge breaks or any big runs where he got away from it. There weren't any Barkleys where he went for like 50 plus. But it seemed like in the second half that
third quarter, that was where what you and I talked about last week, where Buffalo doesn't match up well. If Derrick Henry's on the field and he's getting the ball and he's breaking off 8 yards a carry and controlling the clock, like that's where the Ravens, you saw it. They were a better team than the Bills were. They are a better team than the Bills are, but they didn't play a good game last week. The Bills played as good of a game as they could have played, and the Ravens made mistakes.
But also,
three turnovers? Go ahead.
I mean, okay, Mark Andrews drops the pass. People need to remember that Allen had 1:09 left with 3 timeouts.
He had a minute 33 with 2 timeouts.
Okay.
Sure.
So,
at home with no stadium noise.
Yeah. So I don't think the Ravens are necessarily a better team. They probably should have beaten the Bills, but the Bills played a damn good game. The third quarter was rough, and Justice Hill had his way with this too. Let's not give Henry all the credit.
Yeah.
But the Chiefs do. They win even though they shouldn't have.
Yes, that's why this weekend's going to be so interesting. because it's like it's going to be two teams who win games that they maybe not supposed to win, but they find a way to win. So what happens when those two teams play each other? God almighty, I hope the Bills win. I think the
I
whole
think
world does.
yeah, yeah.
It
I mean, the
absolutely
majority of it
you look
does.
at the internet, the memes and everything, it's everyone against the Chiefs this week, which that makes me a little nervous because
Yeah,
that's more juice for them to go, yeah, it's us against
of
the world.
course.
Not that a
Of
three-peat
course.
isn't motivation, but I don't like that it's like it's way more than it's ever been. It was way more than it ever was for Brady and way more than it's ever been for Mahomes. And but we're seeing it. I mean, it's infuriating how bad the officiating is and how biased it is towards Mahomes.
Ooh, boy. I mean, they got to look at those helmet to helmet penalties. It's like Mahomes with the whole duck and the stopping before going out of bounds
He's
and
running
like
around in
like
circles. He's waiting for
yeah,
guys to hit him to then slide down. It's like a little kid playing freeze tag.
he's the most egregious one with the whole
It's
quarterback thing.
horrendous. And
Some of them don't know how to slide correctly. Some of them don't know when to
he
slide,
knows
but he's
exactly
the
what he's
one that
doing.
knows all of it. Because let me tell you, the ones that know how to slide, Russell Wilson, the guys that never get hurt, what do they all have in common? They were all Kyler Murray. They were all former baseball players. They all
Yep.
played infield. They all know how to slide. You know who else was a former baseball player? And his dad was a professional for 12 years? Patrick fucking Mahomes has slid once or twice before. So the man knows how to slide. The man knows how to go down, but he doesn't because he's taking advantage of the rules. They're going to look at it in the offseason,
They
and they're
better.
going to do it because of how egregious that was. Now, again, Houston doesn't win that game, I don't think. They shot themselves too many times. They got off
Well,
on the finally got off. They finally got off on a third down, and one of their defensive linemen pushes Mahomes to the ground and draws that penalty.
but it wasn't a penalty.
I mean,
So it
look,
happened twice where they stopped the Chiefs. And I hear the argument that yeah, they're not going to win giving up 8 sacks and they're not going to win with all the mistakes they made. But when you drag out Chief drives and you keep that defense on the field when they should have been off and you're giving the Chiefs momentum, those two penalties that should not have
yeah,
been penalties led to
they
points. They
they
extended
yeah.
drives. They took all the juice out of the Texans. They got the KC crowd into it. Like those are huge penalties that change the entire outcome of the game. So yeah, maybe they're
People
getting
talk
eight
about
sacks
momentum.
because the Chiefs defensive line is rested when they should have
Yeah,
been
people
back out
talk
there.
about they talk about like, oh, well that they still had like even what you said before, Lucas. Well, they still had a minute 50, minute 3 left in the game after but all the momentum would have been on the Ravens side. I'm not saying that that's not a moment where Allen can easily pull it back to his with a couple completions, but the momentum. And so that's what people don't take into consideration. Exactly what you're saying, Brent. You get Mahomes off the field because did they go down and score first? Am I thinking of them right?
Yeah.
They went down and scored first. You get Mahomes off the field and they don't come down and score 7 right away. And well, this is a whole different thing now. Now we're going into our second possession. It goes back and forth. So yeah, I agree. It doesn't necessarily. I don't think the refs are calling the game in necessarily like for Patrick Mahomes, but they have been told by the league to protect the quarterback, and that's they're calling it the way they've been told to
Yes,
call it.
but you watch all these other quarterbacks every week take hits that are way worse and no flags are ever thrown. And
But
you could
it's
pull
almost
up a
like you
highlight
got
reel of
32
stuff.
kids, right? And they were like, we told them, like, hey, just go over there. And when you go over there, stay together and don't go off by yourselves, right? They're all going to do it. They're all going to stay together. But eventually, one kid's going to go, like, no one's really watching this, dude. What if we go off by? And Mahomes is that one kid.
Yeah.
That's like, I'm the
Well,
I'm the class favorite. I'll go off by myself and see what happens.
his
And
flop
now
was
all of a sudden,
pathetic. He's becoming a joke
yeah,
with just he doesn't need to cry out for penalties every play. He's one of the greatest quarterbacks we've ever seen, and every play he's crying for a penalty. He's flopping, he's falling
because
down,
he knows, dude. He knows that
he
point. If
knows he's
I
going
can
to get
take
it.
momentum away from you, it may not result in points right now. It may not, but if you feel like you've been wronged and I've sucked the energy out of your team, that's better than anything else. That's better than almost a touchdown or points because you're now not focused on what you should be focused on, is trying to
Yeah.
beat me.
But
Um,
I think they need to, one, they need to look at it in the offseason, but two, if you can allow the replay assist to change the outcome of a turnover or various things, you should be able to look at a penalty, especially a personal foul, and go, okay, yeah, this is not a penalty. And
they
call
do it
it
in
down and say,
hockey.
hey, pick it up. Pick it up. It's not a penalty.
They do it in hockey when it comes to major fouls and minor fouls and stuff. Like major penalties, minor penalties. They have a replay assist if someone, they think someone stepped over the line or whatever. But that's they have to look at it. It can't just be because there was no contact. If you slow it down, like his head didn't really slam into, it wasn't that bad. So the two Texans basically hurt each other more than they ever got near Mahomes. Um,
And then
I'm
teams
not
are
saying
just going to deck him. Well,
well,
right? They'll
that's
just
And they should. Somebody needs to just pop him in the mouth and take the penalty and go, it was going to be called anyway. But
I
yeah,
mean
keep running on me. Keep trying to make me a highlight,
that's
dude.
what they used to do in basketball. I remember Charles Barkley said, if you're gonna get called for a foul, you might as well foul. Like the number one thing like I hate in basketball is like the and ones. Like if I'm gonna foul you and then you're gonna make if I'm gonna foul you, you're not making that layup. That's what they did to Jordan. So if we're going to get called for the penalty, we might as well. I'm not saying take him out of the game, but someone's going to do that. Someone's going to throw him on his neck down on the bench, and he's going to get in a concussion protocol because he can't stand up straight.
can we
So,
make Greg Williams a coordinator again?
uh, look, dude, I'm not saying put a bounty on the guy's head, but
No,
if
I
you're
don't want to
going,
see him get hurt, but if he's going to play around with guys and really stretch out the
yeah.
rule, he should take a hit.
If I'm the
Somebody should just
coordinator,
pop
I'm
him.
telling him like we have to play this guy with kid gloves. But if you do draw that penalty, I do not want that man in the game for the at least next drive. And I don't know what that would probably would be a finable offense, but that would be it.
Well,
Like
Mac
that's and
Hollins is
it's
getting
only
fined just for celebrating. So at this point, let's hit the guy.
um
Yeah,
He
no, the
plays
Texans are
football
getting
too.
fined
Let's hit
too.
him.
They
Exactly.
call out the officiating. They know
we
they're
got to
getting.
get to Brenton because I believe there's going to be an apology that comes, not an apology, but a bit of a I don't know. You're gonna have your song's probably changed on the Commanders and Jaden Daniels. Am I right or am I wrong? Because
Slightly.
yeah,
I think what I am really seeing now is, wow, Dan Quinn can go anywhere and he's going to win. I think Jaden Daniels, he played a great
not
game. He
not
played
the Dallas.
yeah, but that defense
Yeah,
was at least better than it was when he wasn't there. Look at what they were
yeah.
this year compared to when he was the coordinator. But everywhere else, like the Legion of Boom and Atlanta, Matt Ryan, he made Matt Ryan look like a Hall of Famer. And now with Jaden Daniels, Jaden played a good game. I'm still not ready to say that he's up there in the conversation with Mahomes and Allen and Hurts. And I think once again, the Commanders, they're just on one of those paths where everything is just completely lining up perfectly for them. They go into Detroit, they're underdogs, they have nothing to lose, but Detroit has no defense. And in that game, they had two more guys in their secondary leave with injuries. So they literally had no way of stopping. Um, and let's give more credit than just to the quarterback because that offensive line played great. And Terry McLaurin is quietly one of the best receivers in football. And he's not getting enough credit because that 68-yard touchdown pass, Jaden Daniels threw it 3 yards sideways and McLaurin ran through three people and scored. Like, you can't just look at the box score and go, holy shit, he had a 68-yard touchdown pass. It's like, Terry McLaurin had a 68-yard touchdown reception.
Okay, but if you look, first of all, if you look at what the overall body of work, taking a team with a team that barely, they were, well, how many wins did they have the year before? 5 wins, 4 wins?
Okay, so they got to play a last place schedule.
Okay, fine. That's regular season. But then you beat 2 playoff teams. Both are you're underdogs in both of them. On the road. That alone is a highly impressive thing. Now, I don't know if you saw today
I'm not
what
taking
Mel
away
Kiper
from
said.
what he's accomplished.
Mel
He's
Kiper
doing
said
great.
today he's the 5th best quarterback in the NFL. It goes
It's a little early to
Mahomes,
crown him like that.
it goes Mahomes, Allen, I mean, Mahomes, Lamar, Allen, and then him.
I'd still put Jalen Hurts ahead of him. I would still put Joe Burrow ahead of him.
Joe Burrow ahead of him.
Yeah.
Yes, Joe Burrow's ahead of him. Sorry, they had Joe Burrow ahead of him. Fifth best. Yeah, Joe Burrow then him. But I mean,
Look, man,
you look at the numbers. His third when he gets blitzed, he gets the first down. When he seems to be like it looks Lamar-esque when Lamar's like in the zone. That's what it looks like. Jaden Daniels has a sneaky good arm. All the throws are on time. He seems to have great pocket presence where we know where the blitz is coming from. Now, the line's been great. They've been helping him a lot. Again, you said this week specifically, the Lions had injuries, but they never were ahead, dude. It was 10-0 the beginning of the game. So it wasn't like yes, the Lions team overall is that, but like the injuries that occurred they never were in it. Like they were never.
well, they couldn't stop him. Even you take those injuries out and keep those two guys in, they still had 16 guys out. So the Lions obviously were a shell of themselves. The Buccaneers weren't a stout defense. And it's gonna get turned on me that I just came out and flat out said Jaden Daniels is a terrible quarterback. I've never said that. I just was not ready to crown him elite, and I'm not ready to say he's an MVP. I want to see what he does. He could win the Super Bowl. This team could fall into the Super Bowl and win it, and that would be amazing. And he's probably had the best rookie season in the history of football. But it has been such a blessed, lucky road in so many steps, and eventually that either runs out or you're hoisting the Lombardi. I don't think that he's going to get by the Eagles. This is now the best defense that he will play. I know people will argue, well, they just put up 30 some points against him a few weeks back, but it's like, yeah. And on the other side of the ball, you were playing against Kenny Pickett, who also put up 30 plus points. The Commanders have a huge liability in their secondary. They're not a great defense. They're far and away the worst defense that's left in the playoffs. So I think this week, Jaden Daniels will have to be perfect, and we're going to see Jalen Hurts look more like the Jalen Hurts that we've seen in the past, and he's going to throw a lot more, and A.J. Brown, all that reading's finally going to pay off, and he's probably going to go for a massive game. And Barkley's not going to be leaned on as much, but oh, by the way, Barkley's also going to be able to run all over him. So Jaden Daniels, I will eat my words on a lot of stuff I said, but I'm going to stick with it. I don't think this is not a week where the Commanders are going to move on. I think the Eagles are going to handle their business and they're going to be back in the Super Bowl.
I'm going to throw some money on the Commanders on the money line, and I'm going to tell you why. I don't necessarily, I'm not 100% behind it, but I'm going to tell you why. Because I think that first of all, when you have divisional rivalries in these big games and they split, there's always a little something. It's never as far apart as you think it is. They're always closer than you think it is. So the fact that it's a 6-point spread, that's what I had when we first started. I looked at it quickly, but it's a little too wide for a conference championship game for me. So what I'm thinking is, it's all the Commanders are playing with house money, and that's a very dangerous thing to be a part of, because I feel like with Dan Quinn, with his defensive schemes, he's going to go, look, I have to pick one or the other. So I'm going to load up in the box. I may have to play man-on-man one-on-one, but I'm going to make Jalen Hurts beat us. And for some reason, I think that there may be a Jalen Hurts problem this week. I think you just may have a situation where, again, they jump out like they did against the Lions, 7-0, 10-0. And all of a sudden it's like, yes, we can still run the ball. We're doing that kind of well. They're stopping it. There's been no big runs, but now we're a little behind, so we got to throw the ball. And I have no idea what the weather's going to be like at all. I haven't even looked at it yet, but I feel like if you put that kind of pressure on Jalen Hurts, it's going to be a problem this week. I think if you put pressure on either one of those quarterbacks, I'm taking Daniels. Give me Daniels with the pressure over Jalen Hurts with the pressure, because Hurts already has the pressure on him. They're the favorite. They're supposed to win. This kid's a rookie. He goes out there and gets the doors blown off. It's like, so what? We had a great year. Pack it in. We'll get better next year. But when you can like that and you have that ability to kind of turn the page, he's stone cold. He's got ice in his veins. If he fucks up and throws a pick, he's not gonna go wild. You don't have to worry about an emotional nightmare. So a person that could go out there, go for it, maybe make a mistake, and then turn the page and keep doing it, I'm down with that guy.
I think we
with
need
Steve
to
on this.
I think we need to remember that Jalen Hurts has been there at every level. He's been in a national championship game.
Yeah.
He's been in the Super Bowl. We're not that far removed from him giving one of the greatest Super Bowl performances ever. He is more than capable of handling this defense. He's seen them. He knows them very well because they're a division rival. And I think this is a week that he's going to absolutely blow up. And I think this is a week where Jalen Carter is going to be able to get to the quarterback, and we're going to see some mistakes from Jaden Daniels. He's going to look more like a rookie than he has in a long time.
And you may be right. I think you may be right. But
This
for me,
defense is no joke. They were not good to start the season, and they've slowly figured out Vic Fangio's system. And in the last, what was it? They threw up the graphic in the game. In the last, since like week 11, they were the number one passing defense, the number one rushing defense, the number one overall defense. They're getting to the quarterback. They're shutting down everything. This defense is no joke, and they probably don't even need a big game from Barkley or Hurts to beat the Commanders.
Lucas, why are you with me? Tell me why I'm right. That's what I want to hear right now.
Because you're a 2007 you're a 2007 Giants fan. They won every game on the road leading up to a Super Bowl. Like,
I didn't
I
even
just
think about
buy
that.
the
I love
Cinderella
that. Yeah.
story. And also, you watch Jay Daniels. Yeah, he's a rookie. It
Yeah.
looks like he's been in the league
Shiftiness.
for like 4 years when it comes to like getting out of bounds. So he doesn't expose himself. And I love Brenton. And I know he's kind of a Brady hater. And I kind of think Daniels might be the new Brady of like, this is the guy I want to put my stock in because other people are shorting him.
But Daniels is undersized, and all that running is eventually going to catch up to him.
They say that.
Everyone's undersized compared to Josh
He
Allen.
got hurt this year. It's going to happen. If he runs like that, eventually it's going to affect
They say
him.
the same thing about Lamar too. They said the same thing about C.J. Stroud. All
Lamar's
mobile
missed
quarterbacks.
games.
Everyone runs now. Everyone moves around. There's
But
no
not
more.
everyone is as small as Jaden Daniels is.
I mean, if you look at him, he does look slight, but he's got that like Lamar Jackson's arms are skinny, dude. They're like skinny arms, but he's got like country strength. That's what you need. You need like fast twitch country strength. You don't necessarily need to be the hugest guy out there. Especially when it comes to Brady was never the hugest guy. He just worked on shit that like
He's very
separation.
flexible.
Look at fucking Mahomes has got a worse body than I do. But the guy's he's a slightly better athlete.
Yeah, Daniels is pliable.
Exactly, dude. He's bend, don't break. So I don't need necessarily
Very small
fucking
sample
steel.
size, though. That's why year
Yeah,
two.
of course. Well, what do you
Year
want to
two
do?
is
Get
when
old?
we're gonna see who he really is. Let the second season play out.
So you're saying even if they win this week, you're still not on like if it's the Jaden Daniels
It's
show.
a team game. It's a team game, and there's a lot of factors that are going in. And I just don't like seeing everyone pile literally all the credit on Jaden Daniels' lap. He's been great. That's undeniable. He's been great, but he is not the sole reason that team keeps winning football games. He's one of the major reasons, but I mean, it comes down to the coaching, Cliff Kingsbury and his system, Terry McLaurin, the offensive line. There are all these other pieces. Austin Eckler is just there whenever he needs a bailout. He is just there to save him, and he's been playing great. And the defense has been doing just enough to help them get through each round and carry them through the season. Had a lot of stuff fall their way.
Are the Lions ever going to be? Dude, I feel so bad for Dan Campbell.
Well, he's losing both his coordinators.
He lost a coach today. He's going to go coach the become the defensive coordinator or their defensive line coach.
Yeah.
He's going over to be the defensive coordinator for the Patriots under Vrabel.
Yeah, so you're going to see that even with Glenn and with Ben Johnson, they're probably going to pull some staff as well.
Oh yeah, I mean, you think there has to be a Ben Johnson 2.0? Someone over the last couple of years are like, oh, this guy's a lot like Ben. Yeah, you don't think Ben knows that? Ben's taking him with him.
Yeah. So
Um,
that was a
it's
that's probably the worst loss in the history of that city.
God, yep,
And that's one of
yeah,
those, like, they're not coming back from it. They've lost all their coaching other than Dan Campbell. And Dan Campbell's a great coach, but Dan Campbell's not like the X's and O's guy. He just
no.
lost his X's and O's guy. And we're going to see Jared Goff for the first time without either Ben Johnson or Sean McVay and their system and their playbook. So
Who do you think? I mean, yeah. Who? I mean, I don't know. Again, maybe
major
they promote
regression.
someone internally, but yeah, who do you get to run that offense now to make it as potent as it was before?
There's nobody out
Um,
there that is going to be able to do that. So
yeah,
you're going to
maybe
see,
Campbell
and
can hold on
now
for 2 years and
maybe,
wait
but
for Lane Johnson to get fired and then come back and coach the offense
but
again,
Jared Goff's contract hits next
or
year.
Ben
St.
Johnson.
Brown's contract hits. Like, they're not going to have a ton of money to make moves, and it's just bad all around. I think
Yep.
the Super Bowl window is not completely closed because the NFC just isn't as competitive as the AFC, but it's definitely a lot smaller, and you feel bad for them because there's,
They deserve it. They
yeah,
deserved it. The Rams in the same spot. I think the Rams will reload pretty quick because their defensive line is young and sick.
yeah.
Matthew Stafford, I don't know. Is that they got to get a new quarterback, right? Is that what it is? Is this was the last run? You think?
He might go one more year, but they're going to have to bring someone in to have ready behind him
Yeah,
because there were
he's starting to
moments.
look old.
Well, there were moments where it was like against the Bills, he played a perfect game.
Yes.
And the round one against the Vikings, he looked damn good. He was making amazing throws. He seemed like he could move fairly well in the pocket, but there were stretches during the season where it was just like, oh, this guy doesn't want to play anymore. He just
Yeah.
looked slow. He looked out of it. Like, mentally, he wasn't there. He probably goes one more season, but and I don't know if they find somebody in the draft, but maybe they go and they get Sam Darnold because he's going to be a lot cheaper now, and he can sit behind Stafford, and if he needs to come in, he can come in. But Cooper Kupp's probably gone too. I'm hearing he might go to like
Yeah.
Chicago or
Yep.
somewhere.
Chicago.
Yeah.
I mean, Chicago. How many offensive weapons are they going to still have? Keenan Allen
Yeah.
next year too?
I don't know if they're going to keep Keenan Allen,
Oh, all right. Keenan Cooper Kupp will be the new Keenan Allen.
basically.
Yeah.
And Ben
I mean, it's going to
Johnson
be
for
fun to
sure.
watch.
It's going to be really interesting. He has his Jahmyr Gibbs, his DeAndre Swift. Yeah,
He's got them all.
he's got DeAndre
He's got
Swift already.
he's
So
got a
now
DJ Moore is
he
sort of
could
like
he
a
can go and get
Amon
like
Ross St.
he
Brown.
can go and get his David Montgomery. He can go find a bigger like Thunder running back for his Lightning. And you're
Yep.
going to see the Bears look exactly like the Lions, but with arguably better pieces.
Well, I mean, Roma Dunze is a lot like, Jameson Williams, where you could stretch the field out a little, and then you bring in, I don't know, it's going to be interesting to see. And now, again, if it's also the protection. I
Yeah,
don't know who's,
they're going to have to
the
rebuild that
offensive line
offensive
is
line.
going to, yes, you can come up with all these fucking fancy plays, but when it comes down to it, if you're not blocking right, it's not going to be, it's not going to look as pretty. It
And
may
I
look
think
like
that's the
more
difference
like.
between Caleb Williams' rookie year and Jaden Daniels is one guy got protection, the other didn't.
And also, you got to remember, like the Lions, like Jameson Williams throwing that pick, like that was big. Like the fancy plays and all that shit.
Yeah.
Sometimes you get too cute for yourself. So, yes, your Ben Johnson's job was to be cute and come up with cute shit and run a great offense. But sometimes, as the main guy, you got to go. I got to check myself. Let's run the ball. Let's figure out, like how to do everything and not kill ourselves by out thinking ourselves.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I don't know. I mean, to me, I'm like, well, yes, it looks logically on paper. If you're a Bears fan, like fucking great, finally. Like we got Caleb Williams now. It wasn't a great year, but now we got the guy that can make him into, a great quarterback, which they've never had. They've never had a great, like a guy that's like, holy shit, the Bears quarterback's one of the best in the league.
Yeah.
It's never been like that.
Lucas, can you pull up what did Caleb finish with for passing yards? Because they've never had a 4,000-yard passer in the history.
No, I don't think he got there, dude.
I don't think he
I
did
mean,
either. But
he had like a 48% completion percentage. Like
Yeah,
less than.
Yeah, 3,541 yards, 20 touchdowns, 6 interceptions.
Yeah. So next year he'll be the first to hit 4,000 for the Bears.
But he also took how he led the league in taking
Yeah,
sacks.
it was like 65 or 66, whereas Josh Allen took 13 sacks, I think, all year.
Yeah.
68.
68.
68 sacks,
So
dude.
I think that's the second most for a rookie in NFL
Yeah,
history.
you got it. And 260 pressures.
hmm So all things
Crazy.
considered, Caleb Williams played a lot better than I think most people realize. And he's not a
Probably, yeah.
bust.
I mean, but he also a lot some of that stuff, if you look back at some of the film and stuff, it's like some of it is self-inflicted. He holds the ball too long. So
Yes, but he also had
whether the scheme,
Eberflus as his coach.
yes, it might have been a thing where you may have to simplify things for him a little bit. You can get fancy with some stuff, but you may have to have like a couple check downs and a couple safety valves for him to get the ball out of his hands. Um, that might be the biggest help for him, just to get the ball out of his hands. Um, yeah, I mean, it's going to be interesting to see. I mean, Aaron Glenn didn't get a job officially yet anywhere, right?
No,
Or the Jets are.
he had his Jets interview and now he's gonna go and talk with the Saints.
Oh,
I
really? I thought
am
the Jets thing was going to be a done deal
praying. Yeah, it
yesterday.
seemed like it was, but I'm praying the Jets decide to hire him. That'd be amazing.
Why? Why would you think he's a joke?
I
He
don't think
gave him 46
I don't think he's a
points.
joke, but what has his defense done for the last, and again, I know they were all banged up, they were injured, but literally the Lions have been in nothing but shootouts since like Thanksgiving. Their defense hasn't done anything. So the hype on him being a head coach, I don't really understand. So I hope the Jets hire a guy like him because I don't think he's a great head coach. He was a coordinator who was okay.
Yeah.
He
I
did
mean, I'm
okay with what he
surprised.
had, but I don't think he's a good head coach. And that would be the most Jets hire of all time to just bring in a guy that they had to have been
Yeah, because
averaging over 30 points a game against for a month and a half there.
well, I thought yesterday they were bringing in the GM from the Lions for the second time, and they bringing in Aaron Glenn. So I was like, oh, they're going to hire both these guys together the same day. Another two Lions people leaving, but I guess I don't know what happened. The Jets are an anomaly. I mean, they don't have either person in place yet.
Yeah.
Woody and his sons are doing all the fucking interviews. How crazy is that?
You got to feel pretty
Um,
good as a Giants fan that you're not a Jets fan.
no, we have nothing to live for. Um, yeah, I mean, I don't even want to get. I'm not even. Let's not talk about the Giants. We hired a new DB's coach. Congratulations.
That'll fix it.
Who's going to play quarterback? Anyway,
Sam
nobody wants.
Darnold.
I don't. We can't sign Sam Darnold to. We'll sign Sam Darnold to 50 a year, and then he'll turn into Daniel Jones again. We can't have it.
You can't. He can't play in that stadium.
No, he's got too many
He
bad
sees
memories.
ghosts. Yeah.
Um. All right, so let's get to some predictions for the weekend. I like I said, I'm going to do the Commanders thing on my own. It will be a. I think we can. I'll take it with the money line if you want to meet in the middle, Brenton.
You want to take the Eagles with the money line or the Commanders with the money line?
Commanders plus
So
6.
you think, well, you want the money line or the spread?
I mean, I'm personally, I'm taking them
You
on the
think
money
the
line.
Commanders are going to win this game?
Yes, but to be safe, I'll give you 6 points. That's me
Okay.
meeting you in the middle.
That's a smart bet because the Eagles are going to win the game.
Right.
It was a great run, but it's coming to an end. Jaden Daniels, we'll see you next year. We'll see who you really are. We've got some tape on you. And if he puts up the same exact numbers next year, then yeah, he's an elite quarterback, but he's probably going to regress. He's not going to have a 3-to-1 turnover ratio. He's not going to be able to, I think he's going to take some hits. They're going to spy him more and he's going to take some hits and he's going to miss some time. That's just how I feel. At best, next year, at best, he matches his numbers, which were far inferior to Lamar
Well, let's not worry about
and
next year
Josh.
yet.
Okay. But
Let's do
they
this
need to start
week.
thinking about next year because they're going to lose this week. The Eagles
Do
are going to win
you
at home.
do you have any Do you have any news on the weather? Because the over-under is for both games is 47 and a
It's going to be
half.
44 degrees, partly cloudy, and looks like the
So no
wind
weather
gusts.
issues.
I mean, that's as of Wednesday. That could change quickly in Philadelphia. But right now, no weather issues, no precipitation. I think it's a 2% chance of precipitation, and wind's not going to be a factor. So that benefits the Eagles and their passing game.
Um, do you guys want to mess with the over-under? That I'm like less sort of you know, I'm always inclined to take the under in a playoff game just because I feel like things tighten up. But again,
If it
I could
was
be swayed.
if it was like last week and it was going to be freezing temperatures, then I'd probably say, yeah, let's do that. But this is probably they're probably going to score more than 50 points in this game.
Okay. You think the over?
I would
Why do
take
you
the
think?
over.
Yeah.
Because again, I think that this is a game where the Eagles are going to exploit the Commanders' secondary, and this is going to be a Jalen Hurts game, not a Saquon Barkley game. Barkley's still going to have a very good game, but this is going to be a Jalen Hurts to either AJ Brown or Devontae Smith, and they're going to have a couple of bigger splash plays, and it's going to be a higher paced game, and the Commanders are going to be chasing, so they're going to have to throw the ball, and we're just going to see points.
All right. So, yeah. I mean, again, that's if you're yeah, if you're playing catch up, that's a good over under to try to chase points on. Commanders, the over. What about let's get to your boys. The Chiefs and the Bills.
You want to start, Lucas?
Nobody wants to go first.
I'll go first. I
Yeah.
just don't want to
Who
talk
do
the
I
whole
want to
time.
pick?
You
No.
went, yeah. You surprised me last week, Brenton.
Is the over under is at 47 and a half?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Bill?
for both games. Yeah.
Okay. Are you taking the I would take the over. I would take the Bills.
Any reason
Take the
why?
over in the Bills.
What's that?
Any reason
Because
why, or
60
just
million
because go
six,
Bills?
60 million people will be watching and the NFL wants points.
But I mean, why
Interesting.
are you taking the Bills?
Because I'm a homer and I'm wearing a
Okay.
Bills
That's what I was
Chiefs
getting at.
t-shirt that yeah.
So the way I see it, Steve, is the Bills are very capable of winning this football game. They match up very well. They match up a lot better than they did against the Ravens. They have a lot of juice going in. This is the last like boss to reach the fine. Like he has to beat Mahomes. He's going to play out of his mind. Josh knows that he has to do everything. He's running the ball more. It's been fantastic. They have to win this game by 2 scores, though. They can't keep it close, and they have to score with about 3.5 minutes to go. That's when they have to go up by 2 scores with about 3.5 minutes. If they're only up by 2 scores and the Chiefs have the ball and they're driving with a little bit of time left, then I think the Chiefs are going to somehow miraculously pull off the game again. They can't be up by 1 score and let the Chiefs have the ball. They can't be close. They have to shove the ball down their throat. Josh has to like run it in, do his flex, and really just put the hammer down like he did in the regular season. It has to be a 2 score game for them to win. Otherwise, the
So
Chiefs are
9
gonna
points or more with 3 minutes left, or it's a
and
problem.
they have to be the ones that just scored the touchdown with 3 minutes to go.
Got it. It's a lot to ask.
It is a lot to ask, but that's how they win this game, especially if they're missing pieces on defense. Because Mahomes and Kelsey are already playing better than they have all the regular season last week. We're going to see more of that. Their run game doesn't scare me though.
No, Pacheco got shut down last
Pacheco,
week.
since that, I mean, that was a major leg injury. He hasn't really looked like himself. And Kareem
Not
Hunt,
explosive. Yeah, nothing
Hunt's
broken.
fine, but he's not a breakaway guy. So like it's looking ahead too much, but Barkley scares me. If they had to play the Eagles in the Super Bowl, Barkley scares me. This backfield doesn't scare me. So it is going to come down to Mahomes and if they can cover Kelsey enough. And then if Worthy figures out how to stay in bounds, he could be a problem. But they can win this game. I would take the Bills. I would take the Bills on the money line because we're getting plus 105. And I would probably I would probably take the under because they're going to want to keep Josh on the field, keep Mahomes off the field, and use James Cook as much as possible, and you know get 11 yards each first and 10. Like just have long drives, limit possessions, and you're not really going to see some major splash plays from the Bills. It's just going to be methodical.
Well, I mean, I agree. I do. I like the Bills on the money line. The points don't really make it sense to fuck around with that. But yeah, there's that Mahomes magic, and being up by 2 scores would be so beneficial. I mean, I don't think it's going to be a blowout, but giving yourself a little bit of cushion so that when that magic happens at the end, it doesn't come back to bite you guys. I don't want to see I, I don't want to see the Bills having to make a 48-yard field goal down by a point, with 3 seconds left to win the game. I'd rather see the Chiefs trying to convert an onside kick to get the ball back to try to get a field goal to tie the game. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
that's the position you'd much rather be in than trying to win the game, even with the field goal to win the game. I would much rather have that be like, I already have my safety cushion. They might have just scored, but I was up by 10, and now they need the ball back because, they don't have any timeouts left, or for whatever reason, they can't stop the clock, and we can run it down. And so they got to kick. They have to try an onside kick because that's the only time that Mahomes is not on the field where like I don't believe there's going to be magic. Like the Chiefs will not make something magically happen because Harrison Butker's not going to kick a field goal to try.
Or
I mean,
the
unless
refs will miraculously call a penalty that could go either way.
Unless they put Mahomes in on the hands team, and then at that point I go, well, they're going to get the ball back.
Breaking news, though, the Jets just hired Aaron Glenn.
Oh, they did. Okay,
Yep.
I knew that it was going to happen sooner than later. I thought, but
The Jets are a mess.
how do they? So did they hire? They hired a head coach, but no GM yet.
No.
And they fired the GM before they fire. Did they fire the head coach first? I mean, none of this makes any sense. So now when you hire a GM, like you got to just be like, hey, this. I hope you're cool with Aaron Glenn. Like, wow, I don't know.
Yep.
But I know. Rex Ryan's gonna kill himself.
But there's only
He was going hard for that job, dude.
only a couple vacancies for head coaching jobs left, right? You got the Saints, the Jags, and did the Raiders hire somebody?
Not yet. I mean,
No.
So we just need those to fill and Joe Brady to stay in Buffalo.
I thought Ben Johnson was for sure
I thought
going
so too.
to going to go to Vegas. I thought that I was
No,
like
it's going to be Belichick.
No.
It's going to be Belichick. And here's why. The Raiders fired their GM, who I thought did great. He brought in what's his face from the Dolphins on the interior defensive line with Crosby. What the hell's his name? Big guy from Miami.
Yeah.
He made some good signings.
yeah.
He made some good signings, and he had a really good draft. Brock Bowers obviously looks great now, breaking the all-time rookie receptions record. And he's a very respected GM. He wasn't like a first-time GM. He's gone other places and he's built teams. And they fired him after 1 year. Tom Brady's now the owner. Why wouldn't Tom Brady want to go, hey, Bill, I'll let you be GM and you can be head coach now. Once you come, there's familiarity there. We're going to be winners. You and I, we're going to turn this storied franchise around. We have some good pieces here already for you. We got a good defense that you will love to take over and really get playing well. And you're going to have to call me
have to call me sir. You have to call me boss.
Exactly. But I mean, it makes sense that apparently Belichick hasn't signed his North Carolina contract yet. He's just kind of working.
I've heard that too, but I'm not sure about that. I've heard that
either way, it's not that much money to him to buy out of his contract, to let his son be the head coach in North Carolina and go and be the head coach / GM of the Raiders. And he's dating a 20-something-year-old. He's going to be in Vegas, living it up. He's going to be a royalty there.
Yeah, I mean,
She wants to go to Vegas. She don't want to be in North Carolina.
it wouldn't be shocking. I wouldn't put it past Belichick to just completely fucking give a big F you to North Carolina and like go look for a coach. But
Yeah.
it would be a little surprising that if that happened now because I mean the guy just took the job. But stranger things have happened.
Better jobs
By the way,
available.
$50 on that bet with the Bills on the money line and the under and the Commanders +6 and the over $50 would net us what? Hold on. That's not what I want to do. $692.52.
Let's hope that all happens. And it very well
I do.
can
I
and
do
will.
think the Bills Chiefs will hit the under. I was talking about Ash wants to the over. It will hit the under. Usually that I don't
Well,
know.
it's going to be colder there too, and
Yeah,
that's the night game. It's going to be colder, so things are going to be a little bit slower. But yeah, the Bills are going to want to control the ball like they did against the Ravens in the first half. They're going to have a very similar game plan, and they're not going to want to shy away from that. And they should be able to, if they can't move it on the ground with Cook, they should be able to move it through those short intermediate passes to Shakir and Kincaid and Cooper, if he actually is out on the field, they'll have some stuff go to Samuel. Like they'll just move the ball 11 yards at a time. Couple of runs with Cook for 5 or 6 yards, and then a 4 yard pass or a 4 yard scramble from Josh. That's just what they're going to do, and they're going to have these long drives. And when you limit possessions, you're going to have lower scores.
Congratulations to Ohio State. Did you guys watch the national championship game?
Yeah,
and on the background.
they
Yeah,
were
me too.
they were too big, too fast, too strong. Notre
They
Dame fought back okay, but they were just
they made it
clearly,
interesting at the end.
yeah.
Yes. They did by making it interesting, they did win me some money. That thank goodness. So they covered my end. But Ohio State probably the only thing they could have done to save Homeboy's job. If you think they would they rather beat Michigan or win the national championship? You can
I,
only have one.
I mean, this is the first year of the extended playoffs. It's a huge accomplishment. They get to say we're the first ones to win
Yep.
the real college football playoffs. So I think that's the bigger accomplishment. But there's not a single Ohio State fan that can look at the entire schedule and the results and not look at that Michigan date and go, fucking A.
What the fuck happened here?
Big
Yep.
asterisk. That's the one game you can't lose. They could lose all the other games, and if they win that game, it feels like a national title.
Also, congratulations to CC Sabathia, Billy Wagner, and Ichiro Suzuki on getting enough votes to get into the Baseball Hall of Fame. I think Sabathia got in with like 80%. Billy Wagner, this is his last time on the ballot. He finally snuck over 75%. He got to like 77%. He was very emotional. It was very moving to see. And Ichiro got the Derek Jeter treatment, 390 something out of 390, like one vote shy of unanimous.
So stupid.
One vote shy of unanimous. Again, I don't understand what these guys are, who the voters are, why they vote the way they do. I mean, they've all seemed to gotten together and not allowed the steroid era people in, but to have Mariano Rivera be the only person in the history of baseball to be unanimously voted in, and by the way, he should have been.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, he's the best closer of all time. When you're the best at something ever to do it, you should be unanimously voted into the Hall of Fame. But you have guys, Babe Ruth not unanimously voted in, Mickey Mantle on the first try. Yeah, it's remarkable to me how one person can just go, fuck this person. I'm not going to vote for them. And it has to be a thing where they intentionally will not vote for someone the first time on the ballot. There has to be it has to be that. There's no way you can look at Ichiro and say this guy is not in the Hall of Fame. There's no, first of all, he had 3,000 hits. There's no other person on the planet with 3,000 hits that's not in the Hall of Fame. Okay. So what are you going to wait to put him in? He had 1,000 hits in Japan. He has more hits put together than Pete Rose does. He won the Rookie of the Year and the MVP his first year in 2001, which he shouldn't have won the Rookie of the Year because he was 27 years old, but he did it. Under the rules, he was a rookie, and he's fucking a rookie. So what? But the man was a machine. He was undersized. He had a cannon, and probably one of the best baseball players to ever play. And you're not going to tell me this guy's unanimous fucking vote to get into the Hall of Fame? It's fucking crazy, dude. It really is. And I want to know who that person is. They should have to out themselves. They should have to make themselves known and explain why. Because it makes no sense. I was like, I couldn't believe that when I saw that yesterday. I go, how did this guy not get in unanimously? I think the steroid guys all fall off next year, or one of them does next year. A couple people do.
It'll be interesting to see what happens with Barry Bonds.
I think he falls off. And so it's going to have to be, whether they get in the writer, or however that secondary channel in. We made a mistake channel, whatever the fuck it was, voters. Yeah, that's it. And you guys have anything else you want to add?
Just happy to still be playing football.
It's amazing, guys. Lucas, happy birthday.
Thanks.
And I hope you get to celebrate it with another fucking win this weekend, dude. I'm hoping. I really do. Everyone in the world is. Nobody wants to see this shit happen again. Nobody wants to watch Taylor Swift and the countdown and the whole thing. Where she, how's she going to get there? What is she going to wear? Extra security in New Orleans for her. By the way, are you guys going to go?
I saw the cheapest ticket is $4,400. So
what?
That's not that bad.
It's not that bad. Like if Brenton or Josh Potter want to go, I would have to think about it.
Yeah, I would definitely be considering.
I mean, yeah, yes. The tickets are $4,400, dude.
That's not as bad as what you'd think. Usually they're tens of thousands of dollars. So $4,400 to sit in the very back row in the top left corner, that's not horrendous.
Man.
I'm sure they'll go up.
Yeah, it's going to go up. Depending on who the teams are, it'll go up or down.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting. I can't wait to watch this weekend. Go Bills, dude, right?
Yep. Go Bills.
It's going to be magical. That's the podcast for this week. We'll see you next week when we have a champion. We have an American Conference and a National Conference champion. And that's it. We'll know who's in the Super Bowl. Thanks for watching. If you're in Austin, by the way, this weekend and you get this, well, I'll see you. See me at Terry Black's. I think all the shows are sold out, but I'll be at Terry Black's eating, so come say hello. I'll see you later, guys.
Go Bills.
Thank you very much for joining me. How you been? Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Steve Renazizi. I'm the guy